Hello, everyone, to another episode of Pine Tar and Rosin. Today, we're going to get a grip on which is the tougher skill, hitting a baseball or throwing a baseball.
Oh,
So,
there's
this
no
is, I
contest.
know this is, but there is a couple of different things that I don't think the pro hitter like yourself,
Hmm.
not pro hitter, meaning you're on board with the
Hitting.
hitting being the toughest thing.
Hmm.
All right, so we are again without Rooney. He couldn't be here. Hopefully, the next episode it's going to be all three of us. So it is myself, Andy, and Fletcher. So it's always been said from day one, and I understand when you say you're hitting a round ball with a round bat is the toughest skill in all of sports. That's what's been
I
said,
mean,
and
yeah,
I don't know how many sports that guy whoever said that
right. The
had
guy that,
played.
yeah,
um but so the debate is, especially with the way these guys are now throwing as hard as they are, with nasty breaking balls,
right.
and you're only seeing the starting pitcher maybe two at bats.
Mhm.
So they're usually not going more than 5 innings, 6 innings, and now you're seeing a different guy every inning. um so your take is very simple. It is the hardest. So, but my thing is, because it's considered that hard, you have an alibi. You have a pre excuse. Now, I do understand at the pro level, in the big
Hmm.
leagues,
Hmm.
double A, triple A, that might be the case. As an amateur, a young player,
Okay.
I would argue, and I don't even know. I guess you would have to define what young, the parameters of that.
Yeah.
So let's say, well, here they start pitching at 9 years old,
Hmm.
correct?
Just had a practice for those guys.
Okay, and I'm sure it was brutal.
I mean, there's a lot to work on.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Are they better hitters? And I'm not saying this is typical of all nine
Yeah.
year olds
Yeah.
or new. Um, are they better hitters than they are pitchers right now?
Yes. Yes. So we're talking about that age group. I would say that, and they've been hitting longer, t-ball, coach pitch, all that stuff before they've gotten into actually pitching. They can throw, so they've been throwing this whole time, but it's different when they're actually standing on the mound and they're trying to throw the ball across the plate so that where a hitter can actually hit it. We've taught this debate too about strike throwing and all that stuff, but
Right.
I just worked with an entire group of about 12 kids at 9 year old 12 kids at 9 years old, and you know and this group's pretty talented, and for 9 years old, and it's a struggle when hitters stand in the batter's box to mentally be able to throw the ball to their target, even with their mechanics that we've worked on for so long, with just throwing mechanics, not just, we're not talking about pitching.
Right. Which
So
should be the same as
it should be
the
the same
only
as,
thing they should be.
yeah, it should be the same. So we've worked with them over the last couple of years. It's been started with us I guess, a year ago, and some of them have been playing t-ball all the way up, but they've worked on their mechanics for throwing and proper, you know, um, just try to put backspin on the ball and trying to, step in the right direction and just all the stuff we try to teach as throwing. Well, they've done a good job of that, and most of them can make good throws for the most part. We're playing catch, before we started practices. But like I said, now you're getting into a point where we're actually on the mound. You're pitching.
They're facing a
You're
hitter.
facing a hitter.
There could be a fear of hitting them.
Could be a fear of hitting them or hitting the ball back at them or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not really in their heads.
There's a lot of different factors.
But I would say that, yeah, the advantage would go to the guy, the hitter, for those kids who literally they hadn't even thought about really throwing secondary pitches. They're just trying to see if they can get the ball across the plate before they walk them, 3 times before they walk them.
My argument would be, though, that the idea of having to bring your leg up into their balance point and then getting forward is the one big problem.
Yeah, but
And
what
being
point do you?
told, go ahead.
But what I was gonna say, but what point do you actually incorporate that? Everybody does it. Everybody's going to lift.
No, of course. No, of course. What I'm saying is individually, um, I would say they all have weak cores.
Yeah.
They don't know how to engage their core. They're not taught to engage their core. Very early on, they're not taught that it is a power action. Right now, they're being told to throw a strike instead of be aggressive.
Well,
I understand you have to throw a strike. Well, no, you have to throw it somewhere close to the
yeah,
strike zone.
yeah, you got to be willing. Yeah, it's got to be close enough where the hitter feels like he can get to it. Because at this age, I would say the majority of the 9-year-olds that we're talking about, trying to train them to pitch and getting into that mindset of being a pitcher and whatever else that they need to be. But these 9-year-olds are swinging pretty aggressively anyway. They're up there ready to hit. But
And they're going to swing at bad pitches.
They'll swing at bad pitches unless, which I've been guilty of this at times too, where I'm watching the guy warm up on the mound. I'm like, hey guys, take him through and throws your strike. Because I don't know that he's gonna get a strike across there before he walks.
Right.
You know what I mean? If we're down some runs or we're whatever, then I'm gonna challenge the pitcher to even throw the ball across the plate with that umpire who's pretty forgiving, is pretty giving in general.
Correct.
And is going to throw 3 strikes before you can throw 3 balls. Now, granted, I want my hitters I want to teach them to be aggressive and swing the bat and learn to hit.
But also to gain an advantage. Meaning, like you're saying, take until you get a strike. So it's a lot easier, especially as you get older, to do that because most pitchers aren't going to throw a 2-0 breaking ball.
Oh, no.
So you're putting yourself in a much better situation.
Yeah, they're just getting into a good hitter's count. But, so yes, I mean, I found myself very frequently working with these guys on, trying to get the ball back over the plate. Because I know with this team, I'm taking them to tournaments and stuff like that. They play defensive enough. If I can get enough of them to throw the ball over the plate, that umpire's going to call a strike, we'll make plays. But the problem is, again, whether it be a fear factor of hitting somebody or just being on a mound throwing down a hill, they're still trying to figure that out. They're stepping in different spots than what they are when they're playing catch. It's not exactly the same. So we're trying to, try to keep it as similar as we can with their arm slots and where they're throwing. So it's not something just completely different. I don't want them to feel like when they go and just play catch and they're throwing with their buddies that they're having to throw a completely different way to pitch. You know what I mean? I still want them to be able to feel like they can throw from that same arm slot.
You should be able to pitch aggressive. The way you throw.
Yeah.
Your arm should be doing the same thing, and it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not usually.
But I'll tell you this: we actually, we talk about throwing hard, we talk about being aggressive and all that stuff. We play a game where we actually put the ball in their glove. This is the last thing we do after we've done our little throwing program. We put the ball in their glove. They get into a fielding position as if they're fielding a ground ball, and they'll have their partner 60 feet away, and they have to, balls in their gloves on the ground. They're in a fielding position, and I'll say, ready, go. And they got to pop up and throw the ball to the partner. The partner has to catch it and apply the tag. Tag has to go to the ground.
Right.
So you're working on quickness, arm strength, and accuracy. And there's a lot of them that the harder they try to throw, the quicker they try to go. They can't, it's getting there on time, but they can't, it's not accurate enough.
Well,
so it's like, how do you...
What do you see, though, is the reason for that? Is their body faster than their arm?
Could
Meaning
be.
The
definition?
Yeah, like how would you...
Mechanics changing. Where...
How so?
Like, well, I would say for most of these young guys, they're opening up. They fly open. So they're using... Arm would usually lag behind them because they're trying to use...
All right, so they're over-rotating.
Over-rotating. Probably not into their legs as much because ball's in their hands. So let's get aggressive with our arm and not really with the body. Not being explosive with the body. It's same thing as hitting. If I can overswing as a hitter, and I overswing and I get long with the arms, everything gets a little away from me. I don't have the barrel control.
The hands initiate the swing. Is that what you're saying? Like overswinging? So now you're casting your hands away from you?
Yeah. I mean, there's times where I'll fly open with the hips and I'm trying to, the bat lags behind me because everything else is,
is forward. Pretty much the same thing as like you were saying in a fielding position. If their feet or if their body is faster than their arm, they're not going to be able to catch up.
Right.
So now they over rotate. It's the same thing what happens with these younger kids when they pitch. They're getting forward too soon. So it's one of those where they have to understand the relationship between their body and their arm. It's something that I've developed a couple of years ago, which I call time mechanics. So it was the relationship between time and their throwing mechanics.
Yeah, we actually done something with another coach I've had where we're actually, he even talked about some of the instructors and coaches or players that he had. We talk about lifting the knee and all that stuff, and he actually had one guy separate the ball out of his glove, go to his hip, and his glove actually at his other hip, and his foot is literally just an inch off the ground. His front foot, his lead foot, an inch off the ground. He's on the mound, and he had him just balance right there. And I was like, all right, stay right there. I was like, when I let you go, it's hold him. When I let you go, throw a fastball. And from that position, he let him go, and then automatically he separates the hand and the glove, the foot, and everything's on time, and throws his best fastball velocity and location-wise than he did his previous 5 pitches going through a full windup. He's just from that one position. Kind of to your point, the timing, learning to create that timing where whether you're working from the windup and the stretch, as you separate, when you separate, not everybody's going to be exactly the same, but it's going to be fairly similar, kind of like hitting. Not everybody's going to be exactly the same when they stride to hit, but it's pretty similar.
So when they land, they should be, especially the guys in the big leagues.
Yeah, guys in the big leagues look completely different in their wind or in their stance. Like a pitcher might look completely different how he stands, how he holds the ball, or his windup.
Right.
But once that foot comes down, they start to separate and stride towards their target. Everything kind of flattens, it kind of evens out. And then, I mean, some guys still cross their body more.
No, of course. Yeah.
But as far as like, it's not.
It's when they land. It would be the same as after you stride in your front. Yeah. And you're taught to be in a power position to where the elbow. They're told this. I don't know if a lot of them are taught that. Like, what is the arm supposed to do? How are you supposed to get forward? What is your front foot? And they're all different. Meaning, if you have long legs, then it's going to take you a little bit longer to land. If you have long arms, pretty much the same thing. So I mean, getting back to the debate.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Whatever or however a kid throws, after that, they're told to, or they should, think about trying to repeat it.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the difficult part. That is the very difficult part. Okay, I throw, let's say I'm up 0-2, and now I'm going to throw a curveball. I'm supposed to repeat my delivery, regardless of what grip I have, regardless of what pitch I'm about to throw. My delivery should be the same as my fastball. It usually is not, especially with the younger kids. And that is why most curveballs are missed up or arm side, usually both. It just means that their arm is slower. Their body is the same, but their arm is slower. What would you consider the same, or I guess the analogy of that for the hitters? Trying to be the same, because you guys are told pretty much the same thing, but now you're facing breaking balls and change ups and fastballs on the outside, inside.
Yeah. So
that's not hard. I mean, that's not easy.
No, it's not. So, and again, it depends on the level of play. Like, in other words, and who you're facing. In other words, if I've got a guy that I know throws hard, particularly if he locates it fairly well, I have to zone in my window for that I'm going to look for. If a guy doesn't have a lot of stuff, in other words, he doesn't have enough stuff to beat me. Let's say, and I use that analogy a lot of times when I talk.
He's just got a fastball.
Or
he's going to throw other things, but know it's not going to beat you because he's probably going to miss.
Right. Or for whatever reason. Let's say, breaking ball's very, very average, maybe below average. Fastball doesn't have a whole lot on it. It's just, when I'm talking to some of these high schoolers, I was telling them that, it's like, if he doesn't have a lot to beat you, you can open up your window a little bit. You can open up your window and know that the ball doesn't have to be in a little shoebox or a little Dixie cup for me to hit it hard. I'm going to recognize the pitch. There's not enough movement on it. There's not enough velocity on it for me. And I'm a good enough hitter. I can work both sides of the field enough off of this guy. Now, a guy That's got good stuff. Ball's running. It's got high velocity. I know as a hitter, I had to bring my strike zone a little tighter. I had to pick a side of the plate or a portion of the plate, because if I started looking at a big window and to hit a ball, it's going to look like a BB. I'm going to miss hit it.
Right.
It was too easy to miss hit. My opportunity there.
Plus, most hitters, you're not good in a big window.
No,
correct. I mean, looking at
it's a two-strike approach. I mean,
like seeing Ted Williams. I'm sure you've seen. I know you have. Where he was hot, what was red, what was blue, what was whatever. Like, and that's one of the better hitters ever.
Ever, right?
And there weren't, in his spot, it was really red. Like he didn't miss many.
No,
and
percentages were high. Yeah,
very high. So, like, you're not going to be good away and in and up. Like, middle, everybody should be able to hit. Correct?
Yeah.
So when you get that, you shouldn't miss it, especially if that's what you were waiting for.
Yeah, but still, that's the hard part about it all.
Right.
Because you still...
You're relying on the pitcher.
Well, here's the thing is, too. I mean, I was the world's worst about this. I would be, if I'm on, or I don't want to say if I'm on, but if I'm seeing the ball well and I get myself into a good hitter's count, I end up taking a couple of pitches or whatever. Now I've got myself into a good hitter's count and I feel pretty good. I've seen 2 or 3 of his pitches and I get the pitch I look for. This is the hard part about hitting. It's kind of like golf in this.
So you jump at it?
You just get you squeeze the bat a little tighter. You open up a little more.
You squeeze the puppy. You squeeze the puppy too hard.
Yeah, man. And then you just, like I said,
you'll love it too much.
Yeah, you overswing. You start visualizing literally in that split second, the ball leaves his hand like, oh, there it is. And the thing looks like a beach ball coming in. That split second, I'm visualizing the ball leaving the yard at 130 miles an hour. Because I'm going to, and that's where my swing breaks down.
So is that a factor of it being the toughest skill?
Well, not just that.
No.
Yeah, but
understood.
I think
even when you're on, even when you get the pitch you were waiting for,
yeah, that's what
you will still fail half the time.
That's what
3/4 of the time.
It depends. It depends.
I guess it depends. I mean, that is a learned trait of, all right, I can't overswing, or go the other way, or. Because that's when you overswing or you're trying to pull off of things, isn't that the adjustment, trying to go the other way? It doesn't mean you're going to go there.
Right. No,
but it just limits.
Yeah.
Right. It limits you opening up too soon.
Yeah. And everybody has their own theory or their own thought process that they're going to try to cover more of the plate or have their success, whether it be, let me see the ball down, let me see the ball up, look away, react in. Or let me just look for something in I can open up on. Everybody kind of has their own thought process. I would say the majority of guys I knew would try to kind of look and try to work backside or look the other way and have to react in just so that they could, stay closed per se. We start talking mechanics. I mean, the hard, there's so many things that make, to me, hitting very difficult, mentally being a big part of it, but also too, just, even when I'm on, like I said, I feel really good. You get pitchers who have different stuff and they're on that day and you start thinking you're trying to overswing and all that stuff. And God forbid, you're just having an off day and you feel like you're not seeing it well. You have such a little time to react. Timing gets off a little bit.
Right.
Whatever. And then you got to play the elements. It might be batter's eye or whatever else, but that comes into play. So yeah, I mean, it's
mentality, your mindset. When you start thinking about, or would you think the average player, are they thinking not to fail? Don't open up? Don't, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I think
or those are the guys that
usually don't
are really, they don't advance.
No, those are the guys that
instead of staying with the positive.
Yeah, I think you have to go up to the plate. If you go up to the plate as a hitter and you're thinking, I hope I do well right now, that you're going to be. I hope. If you think, it's like, I hope
is it the same? Is it the same as saying, I hope I don't do bad, as long as I don't fail?
I think that's worse. I think if you say I hope I don't do bad, you're already convinced yourself that you're going to be doing bad. You've already mindset it. But even I hope I do well, to me was bad.
You shouldn't hope at all. You should have control.
No, your mindset
you have to have control of it.
With that little bit of time you have to react to the baseball. With those 2 or 3, maybe 4 at bats you get in an entire game, the mindset has to be, I'm going to get this pitch and I'm going to rip it here.
Right.
And I know this is exactly what I'm doing. I've played this out in my mind. Not that I hope I do. Not that I hope I do. I know I'm going to do that. I've already convinced myself 100%. I'm going to get this pitch. I'm going to do this to it. And you can play it out. There's been a few times in my career where I wish I could do it more often, but because it's just that mindset and that roller coaster we play. But where I can distinctly remember a guy throwing 3/4 almost sidearm arm action, 92, 93, but with a ton of sink, ton of run. And I literally walked up to the plate. My first at bat, I grounded out, and I remember walking to the plate. My next at bat, thinking, "See it up, make him get the ball up, and try to hit it right back at him." I was like, "I'm going to see the ball up. I'm going to hit it right back at him." And I kept telling myself while I'm on deck. And as I walked up to the plate, first pitch he throws me is maybe low thigh, knee high. I check my swing. The ball sinks low out of the zone. Ball 1. And again, I step out and I tell myself, "See the ball up, hit it right back at him right now. Look for it up, be ready for it up, hit right back at him." Very next pitch, belt high, sinks down to about mid-thigh, and I hit one right back at his forehead. And he ducked and went right in the center field for a base hit. I rounded first base, fist bump first base coach, and was like, that was freaking deja vu. Literally played the exact same scenario out in my mind, and it couldn't have been exactly more what I was visualizing pretty much after my first at bat, and what I wanted to do, the approach I wanted to have.
You just didn't get that pitch. Did you have that same approach the first time up?
No.
Okay.
First time up, I'm just first time I'd seen him.
First time
I
you saw him.
I knew it was a 3/4 sidearm guy, but
you didn't know the sink was going to be that.
Yeah, I didn't know the sink. I can't remember how many pitches what the exact entire at bat was, but I grounded out thinking, dang, I probably should have laid off that pitch. And so, anyways, and then that was kind of the next at bat was more of a, the game plan was I got to get him up because he's going to wear me out down there. And then instead of thinking, man, I hope I don't ground out again, or man, I keep chasing that ball low. Don't chase the ball low,
Right. Trying not to do the negative.
Right. Then I told myself, see it up, hit it right back at him. Don't try to pull off of it. See it up, hit it right back at him. That was my mindset the whole time. And literally it was like deja vu.
I've had pitching coaches come out to the mound and they put the negative thought into your head almost immediately. Don't leave this ball up.
Oh, yeah.
Don't let this guy hurt you.
Right.
Had nothing to do with me.
No.
Had nothing to do with trying to help me in the situation. It was just, don't screw up.
Right.
And
Thanks.
what do?
Yeah.
I screw up.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like I don't think I've ever asked a kid on the mound going up to see him, I'm not telling him what he's doing wrong.
Right.
I'm not. He knows it. I try to teach, I try to coach the fact of, all right, these are the adjustments we're going to make. Mm-hmm. So, all right, you're messing up. You need to either stay back or I would never say the result he needs to have. Yeah. Like, of course we know that. And this is going back to what you guys are saying about throwing strikes. Teach the kid. I don't know. I haven't seen you with, one of these younger guys, especially, they're clay in your hands right now, especially the 8-year-olds turning 9. Like, this is the first chance they get on the mound. The impressions that I hope you guys are giving them should be a positive one. I'm sure it is.
Oh yeah.
But it's funny when, the teams that we played against and the guys and parents up in the stands and what they're asking their kids to do. Throw strikes, get ahead, do this, do that. And it's like, it's obvious.
Yeah.
Of course.
Like, how do I do
how?
That? Right.
How? Don't tell me what to do. Teach me how to do it.
Right.
And I usually I use the analogy of a teacher that comes into the classroom and they say, we're doing this, this, and this. We expect you to make good grades, and then just walks out of the room instead of teaching them how to study.
Sure.
This is what we're going to do. We're going to show you how to do it. Like, I want my guys to know exactly why things happen the way they do, whether it's hitting or whether it's pitching.
Yeah.
And then, all right, get in this situation where you can recognize, all right, well, I'm not getting the result I want, so therefore I need to change something. What is it I'm changing? Am I changing my arm action behind me when I break, or am I changing how I'm staying back?
Well, that also comes down to just watching a clip somewhere and like, oh, this is how I've got to do it. But not everybody's built, or not everybody has the
No.
same issues. And that's the reason why I think it takes somebody that's had experience, somebody that's done it a while and has maybe been through some of those things, because you can't just sit there and say, dang, man, I am struggling as a hitter right now. Let me just watch this video and how he does it. And because I can tell you there's 1,000 theories. I was that guy. I was a switch hitter, drafted as a leadoff slap guy, squatting really low, spread my feet way out, and choking up on a big old bat, to literally the very same year standing upright and trying to swing.
Now you're a power guy.
Now a power guy, and somewhere in between. And I created different holes in my swing, created different issues that I had to work out of, that I needed help with, different drills to help me with those things I continue to struggle with.
Yeah, but it's not only changing, but then it's being consistent with that change.
Right. Once you
I'm sure change is not good.
No, not
until it gives you better results.
Right. Yeah. Once you're going through those changes, and you realize that this is the same thing I continue to get beat with. What do I need to do to adjust? Because they're going to adjust. It's like in the big leagues, you see these guys all the time. They'll have like, they'll put up certain numbers, or they're doing whatever, and all of a sudden they run into what we call a slump, or they slack off a little bit. But it's because pitchers have probably done their work, done their data searches, and
there's more at bats now that they can watch.
Yeah,
they're doing the same thing.
Yeah, they're trying to get an edge on it, and like right now, Acuna's freaking on fire for the Braves. It's like, okay, will he continue that the rest of the year? No, he's been on fire all year too, but I get it. But like somebody says they're going to slow down, it's usually because he's patched a hole that he had previously in the year, and now pitchers are trying to find out where's that next hole.
There's not too many.
There's not too many.
There's not too many. But it's almost case in point, the other way. Who's the one? Is it the Marlins that was close to 400?
Oh yeah. Oh my God, if you hadn't brought it up, I'm an idiot.
Well, then you should have brought it up. Oviedo?
No,
I can't remember the name.
But
now he's down to like 350 now.
Right. And he was
it's harder,
legitimately looking at being a 400 guy.
Yes, and it's harder to drop that low this late.
Right,
because you have so many at bats.
Yeah, he was pushing 400 for a ton of at bats.
Acevedo? Something like that.
Something like that. I have to look him up. I feel like
we'll look him up. That guy just has no holes, and he just created a record of what I think 30 home runs, the first ever to hit 30 home runs and have 60 stolen bases.
Oh,
in the same season.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just
that's like a new record. No one has ever.
Yeah, and that's gonna be hard. Yeah. And they're gonna also with him too. It's you could see when you're watching the last couple of games I've been watching, just confidence just oozing. And I mean, and I've been there too as a hitter. You talk about being in the zone, or a pitcher being in the zone throughout a game who throws a complete game shutout or something like that. It's just being able to repeat your delivery as a pitcher, just like he's repeating his mechanics as a hitter.
Right.
Like he has a little crash to his swing. In other words, he strides and his weight goes forward, but he's got it timed perfectly right now. I mean, and that's one of those things.
Yeah, but it's the pitcher that creates. There's two halves of that timing.
Right. Damn.
Luis
Arias,
I guess.
Yeah. But
they figured him out.
Exactly.
They found a big hole, apparently, and now he's trying to fill that hole up.
Right.
And I think it might have created a couple of